Hello everyone. As you know, with the rise of the internet, a great deal of information that was previously inaccessible became public. Every day, millions of people search to learn new things by themselves. Many people think that if they're online every day, they know everything, but they're wrong. Because of the vast amount of information on the web, it's simply impossible to see everything, even if you dedicate your life to it. And this means that you can't know everything in the world. So in today's video, we decided to broaden your knowledge a bit and show you some things you probably haven't seen yet. Let's get it on. Most people love chocolate and literally can't live without it. And of course, even if you don't like chocolate, you've probably tried it at least once in your life. We're used to the fact that chocolate's a bar covered with multicolored paper waiting for us in the store. However, few people know or have seen how chocolate's produced. Today we're going to show you this simple but laborious process. It all starts with the cocoa beans that sprout in different parts of the world. For example, in South America, Central America, West Africa, and Australia. The grains arrive dry at the chocolate factory, without the gelatinous layer, and sorted. The first stage of chocolate production is the roasting of the beans at a temperature of 120 to 140 degrees, after which the shell is removed. Large particles are removed by filtering, while small particles are removed from the mass by vacuum. The toasted and peeled dough is then broken up and ground into a uniform thickness. Sugar, flavors, and cocoa butter are added. If it's milk chocolate, dry milk is added. You probably think that the chocolate production is almost finished, and all you have to do is pour the dough into the molds. But no. Yes, the taste of this melted dough is what we all love, but the consistency is not entirely homogeneous. This may seem strange, but to achieve the same thickness and ductility, the liquid mass is dried to obtain powdered chocolate. In addition, this powder is melted again to obtain a thick liquid. Now it becomes the real chocolate, ready to be packed. If the manufacturer produces chocolate chips, the thick dough is dripped on special pallets to cool and pack the chips in bags. If you produce chocolate bars, then the dough is poured into special molds, which travel along the conveyor. It cools for 2 hours and, well, you guessed it, the chocolate is ready. We all know that Thor controls thunder and lightning, yet few people know that you don't have to be Asgard's god to be surrounded by deadly flows of electricity, like in an epic movie. This man is not a superhero, but just an ordinary electrician, and yet, just look.
I don't like that.
Okay, controlling the lightning and the current isn't the same, but it looks spectacular, don't you think? Let's take another look. It's very beautiful. Have you ever thought about going for a walk on a cold day with soap bubbles? To be honest, playing with liquids is the last thing you want to do when it's very cold. So we're sure you've never made soap bubbles in the snow and missed something great. Due to the cold, they freeze in an amazing and very beautiful way. And now there'll be a little spoiler. By the way, people who are allergic to pollen won't like what we show them below. We can only be happy that the technology has not yet reached the level needed to transmit the smell by video, and be glad you saw such an enormous amount of pollen flying from a tree, because this phenomenon is quite rare. A rainbow after rain is a fairly common phenomenon, and you've probably seen one at least once in your life. However, you probably don't know that you've seen a rainbow, let's say, not in its very original form, because in fact, rainbows form a complete circle. But looking at it from the ground, we only see half of this circle. Well, have you guessed what we're going to show you now? To see a full rainbow, you'll have to climb very, very high. For example, to the top of a mountain or on a plane, from where, as usual, you'll also have a beautiful view. Everything related to weightlessness conditions on space stations in general causes great interest among ordinary people. We're curious about absolutely everything, starting with how astronauts eat and drink and ending with, well, more personal questions. But have you ever wondered what happens to tears in zero gravity? Do they just flow over your face, or do they separate from the skin and hang in the air? In this case, water is used instead of tears, and as you can see, the tears don't separate from the skin. But they don't flow down either. They form something like a bubble under the eye. The more you cry, the bigger the bubble becomes. Space launches are very rare events. For example, in 2017, exactly 90 orbital launches took place. In 2018, there were only 79 launches. Anyone who has seen with their own eyes how a carrier rocket rises into the sky can consider themselves very lucky. Well, and an even smaller number of people have seen a rocket launch from an airplane. They can be considered probably super lucky. By the way, now you can identify yourself as one of them. Yes, you didn't see it live, but a video counts too.
You like the bright light back there?
Incredible.
Wow.
Still see it?
Yep, it's in the camera. Look how fast that's going, man. Look how fast.
But only astronauts have seen a rocket launch from space in person. Unfortunately, they made a couple of images. Electric towers are huge metal structures that have incredible weight and even more incredible dimensions. We're sure you don't know how these structures are built though, and the procedure, by the way, is extremely interesting. We've always believed that the trucks took the beams to the right place and then welded them together for a long time, stubbornly and painfully, until the tower was finished. However, it seems that our idea is too long and too slow, and nobody really uses it. It turns out that the towers are transported to the necessary place from the factory in parts. Special cargo helicopters are used for this. By the way, this work is not only extremely interesting, but also laborious. We would even compare it to the work of a jeweler, because the helicopter must fly and place a part of the tower in the right place, with a margin of error of only a couple of centimeters. We don't know what you think, but we, people who have nothing to do with the production of fireworks, have always been surprised at how they're made in such a way that they're so beautiful. Fireworks are very complex. They can explode at different heights, in different colors and forming different figures. But it turns out that the appearance of fireworks in the sky depends on the way they were created. And something tells us that you have no idea what a firework looks like from the inside. Well, until now, until this very moment. Surprisingly, to design just 1 minute of fireworks shows, experts need a full hour. The next 6 or 7 hours are spent filling the fireworks the right way, so the lights and colors alternate in the right order. Apparently, absolutely all living things can sneeze. It's simply not always possible to record them. For example, did you know that even a horse can sneeze? By the way, horses also know how to do this.
What was that?
So hard, even the animal itself got scared. By the way, birds are no exception either, and they also know how to sneeze. They just do it in such a strange way that you can look at it for hours. You probably know that we always see only one particular side of the moon. This is because the period of rotation around the Earth and the period of rotation around its axis on this satellite are very close. It turns out that when we claim to know what the moon looks like, we're not telling the truth. From this very moment, you can safely say that you know what even the hidden face of the moon looks like, because here it is, captured in photographs. Turns out that the part of the moon that we normally see is dotted with seas and craters, and the hidden part is flatter, with more terrain and only 2 seas. By the way, the largest lunar craters are also found here on the hidden face of the moon. The Great Wall of China is perhaps the most recognizable construction in the world. This is the largest architectural monument built in ancient China. Its length is almost 9,000 kilometers. Well, if you look at the wall as a whole, along with all of its numerous branches, then it extends for more than 21,000 kilometers. Hardly anyone thinks about where the wall begins and what this place looks like. So, the place where the Great Wall begins looks like this. There is a legend that a huge dragon pointed out to the workers the exact place where they were to build the wall. It's no coincidence that many claim that its final form resembles a dragon in flight. Well, the section where the wall begins is known as the Dragon's Head. It's located near the city of Shanhaiguan. In ancient times, there was a transportation center of strategic importance here. It turns out that the Great Wall of China begins in the water. Hey, stop being lazy. It's time to use that brain of yours. Welcome to Brain Time. Incredible facts from the past, the present, and even the future. The power of nature and wild animals, amazing facts and unsolved mysteries. You'll find all this and much more here. Subscribe now, you won't regret it.